The morning sun rose slowly over the quiet village of Cairo, casting a warm glow across the dusty paths, the clay houses, and the old mango trees lined like guardians of history. As the village woke up, one familiar voice filled the air. Soft, melodious, almost musical. Fresh pepper. Sweet pepper. Come and buy. It was Amina, the humble village hawker whose kindness was known throughout the community. Her basket, woven from raffia and held together with faith, rested comfortably on her hip. She was not wealthy, but she carried herself with grace. Her smile was warm and her heart even warmer. While Amina started her day, another person was beginning a journey of his own, a journey he never expected would change his life forever. Far away from the village square, a sleek black SUV stopped near a lonely path. The door opened and a tall, well-built man stepped out. His name was Jonathan Adewale, one of the richest businessmen in the country. His face often appeared on magazine covers. His name trended on business blogs. His wealth was large enough to buy entire estates. But today he looked nothing like a billionaire. He wore old jeans, simple slippers, and a plain t-shirt. He carried no designer watch, no expensive phone, not even a bodyguard. For the first time in years he wanted to be ordinary. Jonathan had grown tired of fake smiles, fake friendships, and women who pretended to love him just to enjoy his money. He longed for something real, something pure, something untouched by wealth. So he made a secret decision. He would leave the city. He would disguise himself. And he would search for love in a place where no one knew who he was. His feet carried him toward the village market. He tried to blend in, though his height and quiet presence attracted glances. Children stared with curiosity. Some elders nodded politely. Jonathan nodded back, pretending not to feel awkward. Then he heard her. That soft, sweet voice calling the same words. Rhythmic, humble, and honest. Fresh pepper. Sweet pepper. Come and buy. He followed the voice until he saw her. Amina, sitting behind a small wooden table, arranging freshly washed peppers with careful hands. Her scarf framed her round face, and her smile seemed like morning light breaking through the clouds. Jonathan froze. There was no expensive perfume on her, no jewels, no makeup. But something about her felt peaceful. He approached her slowly. "Good morning," he said. Amina looked up surprised, then smiled. "Good morning, sir. Do you want pepper?" Her voice carried no pretense. She didn't try to impress him. She didn't look at him twice like the women in the city. She simply saw a customer, a stranger, and treated him with kindness. Jonathan nodded. "Yes, I want pepper." He didn't even know what to do with pepper. But he wanted an excuse to stand near her for just a few more seconds. She picked the freshest peppers and handed them to him in a small bag. Jonathan reached into his pocket and froze. He had only big currency notes, the kind that would make villagers suspicious. Amina noticed his hesitation and smiled gently. "You can pay later," she said. "It's fine. Pepper is not expensive." Jonathan blinked in shock. She didn't know him. She didn't know his wealth. She didn't know anything about him. Yet she trusted him. People in the city rarely showed such kindness. Not to a stranger. But here she was, offering it freely. "Thank you," he said softly, feeling something warm settle in his chest. He walked away slowly, but every few steps, he turned back to look at her. She was already calling out again. Fresh pepper. Sweet pepper. But Jonathan heard something deeper, a call to his soul. Something inside him whispered, "You will come back tomorrow." And he did. The next day. And the day after that. And the day after that. Amina began noticing how he lingered, how he asked about her day, how he listened with genuine interest. He didn't flirt. He didn't boast. He simply cared. But others noticed too. Some villagers whispered. Some watched him cautiously. Some began to ask questions. Who was this strange man who kept returning to the pepper cellar? Amina didn't know her life was about to change forever. Jonathan didn't know his secret wouldn't stay hidden for long. And when the truth finally came out, it would shake the entire village. Jonathan returned to the village every morning, and every morning, Amina had a smile waiting for him. She teased him gently. "Are you sure you cook this pepper you keep buying?" He chuckled awkwardly. "I'm learning." Secretly, he threw most of it away. But it was worth it just to talk with her. As the days passed, he began helping her arrange her peppers, carry her basket when it became heavy, and even escort her home sometimes. Some villagers found it amusing. Some found it suspicious. But Amina, she found it comforting. She told him about her dreams, how she hoped to open a small shop someday, how she wanted to take care of her younger siblings, how she prayed for a better life but never begged for it. She worked hard, prayed harder, and never complained. Jonathan admired her deeply. She had far more dignity than many wealthy people he'd met. One day, while she was packing up her stall, he asked, "Amina, what would you do if you suddenly had everything you ever wanted?" She laughed softly. "Everything? That is too much, sir. Let me just have peace and a little comfort. I don't need the whole world." But Jonathan fell silent, staring at her with eyes full of questions. Would she still be this pure if she knew who he was? A few weeks later, Jonathan made a bold move. He told her his real name. "Well, part of it. I'm Jonathan," he said. "Just Jonathan. I came here to rest from my busy life." It wasn't a full lie, but it wasn't the whole truth. Amina nodded. "You look like someone who has seen too much stress." Again, not a lie. Some villagers began whispering. "This Jonathan, who is he? He dresses simply but he doesn't behave like a poor man. Amina better be careful." One person in particular did not find it funny. Sikiru, the local motorbike rider who had wanted Amina for years. He watched Jonathan with narrowed eyes. "He thinks he can come from nowhere and take her," he muttered. Meanwhile, Jonathan's heart was deep in a war. He wanted to tell her the truth. He wanted to reveal everything. He wanted her to know him, the real him. But he feared the same thing that had haunted him for years. Would she still see him as a man? Or only as a billionaire? One evening the sky turned orange, and the village buzzed with soft chatter. He and Amina sat under a tree, sharing roasted corn. "So you still don't live in this village?" she asked. Jonathan hesitated. "No, but I'm thinking of staying longer." Amina smiled slowly. He felt his heart jump. But not everyone was happy about it. Sikiru spread rumors that Jonathan was a fraud, a criminal, a man with a dark past. Soon villagers grew suspicious. One morning, Amina arrived at her stall and found two women whispering. "That stranger is hiding something. Amina should be careful." But Amina only smiled. "If he has something to hide, he will tell me when he is ready." Those words touched Jonathan more deeply than she could imagine. Trust, real trust, was rare. And it was at that moment he realized something. He was no longer visiting the village out of curiosity. He was visiting because he was falling in love. Jonathan's visits became more frequent, more emotional, more meaningful. He laughed freely for the first time in years. He slept peacefully. He found joy in simplicity, carrying pepper baskets, helping villagers fix broken stalls, even playing with children. Amina's kindness was rubbing off on him. But trouble grew like a hidden cloud. One evening, Jonathan's personal assistant, Mr. Wilson, arrived in a panic. "You left your company for 3 weeks, sir. The board is worried. Your family is worried. You must come back." Jonathan pulled him aside. "Wilson, lower your voice. No one here must know who I am." Wilson stared at him as if he had lost his mind. "You're a billionaire. How can you just disappear and live like a farmer?" Jonathan sighed. "Because for once in my life, I want something real." Wilson frowned. "Does this something real have a name?" Jonathan's silence was the answer. The next day, Wilson returned to the city, but he left with a warning. You can't hide forever, sir. Sooner or later, the world will find you. And the world did. 3 days later, 2 glossy black jeeps drove into the village. The villagers gathered, confused and frightened. Who owns these cars? What is happening? Is someone famous coming here? Jonathan froze when he recognized the vehicles. His family. His older brother, Richard, stepped out in an expensive suit. So did his mother, elegant, strict, and visibly irritated. The villagers whispered. Are they looking for someone? Who are these rich people? Ah, they must be lost. Richard glared at Jonathan. So this is where you have been hiding? Amina watched from a distance, confused. Jonathan's mother spoke sharply. Son, get into the car. Enough of this nonsense. We have meetings. We have responsibilities. You are embarrassing the family. Jonathan clenched his fists. I'm not going anywhere. His mother froze. What did you say? I said, I'm not leaving this village. Shock rippled through the crowd. Richard pulled Jonathan aside. Is it because of that pepper seller? Amina heard that part. Her heart dropped. Jonathan tried to explain. Richard, don't. But Richard stormed toward her. Ooh, girl. Stay away from my brother. Amina stepped back, trembling but composed. Jonathan rushed forward. Richard, don't talk to her like that. The villagers gasped. Jeeps, suits, shouting. The truth began to click in their minds. Jonathan was not an ordinary man. He was rich, very rich. Too rich. Sekiru screamed dramatically. I said it. He is a scammer. This man is pretending. This man is lying. Jonathan's mother turned to Amina. You think a poor village girl can stay with my son? Never. Amina's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't cry. I never asked him for anything, she whispered. But Jonathan stepped in front of her like a shield. You don't get to speak for me, mother. Silence. Cold, heavy silence. Jonathan took Amina's hand in front of everyone. I choose her. Screams. Whispers. But Amina pulled her hand away, heartbroken. You lied to me, she whispered. You all lied to me. She ran. Not because he was rich, but because he hid it. And the wound cut deep. Amina locked herself inside her small home, refusing to eat, refusing to open her stall, refusing to speak to anyone. Her mother tried to comfort her. Her friends tried to cheer her up. But her heart was too heavy. How can someone pretend to be poor just to deceive me? How can someone hide so much? Was I just a joke? Meanwhile, outside, Jonathan stood in the heat for hours, hoping she would talk to him. Villagers passed, some shaking their heads, some mocking him. Rich man, go home. You want to play games with our Amina? Leave her alone. Even Sekiru shouted. Go back to your mansion. But Jonathan remained. He stood by her gate until the moon rose. He stood there until he collapsed. His collapse. The stress, the heat, the emotional turmoil broke him. Villagers rushed him to Amina's compound. Amina came out and froze when she saw him lying on the ground, barely conscious. He whispered her name with difficulty. Amina, please listen. Her heart shook. Despite everything, she couldn't ignore him. She helped him inside, gave him water, placed a cold cloth on his forehead. His voice trembled. I didn't hide the truth to deceive you. I hid it because I wanted to be loved for who I am, not what I own. Amina's eyes softened, but her heart was still wounded. You should have told me, she whispered. I know, he said. And I'm sorry. I will explain everything. And he did. He explained the loneliness, the pressure, the fake relationships. He explained how the world saw him as a trophy, not a human being. And how she was the first person who treated him like he mattered. Not because of money, but because of kindness. Amina wiped tears from her eyes. I don't need your wealth, she said. I only needed honesty. Yes, he whispered. And now I am giving it to you. But just as things began to heal, His mother barged into the compound. "This nonsense ends today," she screamed. She ordered guards to drag her son away. But villagers blocked them. Old men, young women, even children. A chorus of voices rose. "You cannot take him by force. He is grown. Let him choose." Jonathan's mother trembled with rage. "This girl will ruin him. She will destroy everything." A village elder stepped forward. "No, love does not destroy. Pride does." That moment changed everything. Jonathan broke free and said loud enough for the whole village to hear, "If I cannot marry Amina, then I will give up my position in the company." His mother froze. "What? I will walk away from everything. I will start my own life. With or without your approval." Shock spread across the village. His mother stared at him, speechless, furious but shaken. This was no phase. No rebellion. This was love. Days passed. Jonathan's family returned to the city, embarrassed and frustrated. Rumors spread across the village. Some said he would never come back. Some said his family would forbid him forever. But Jonathan returned. Not as a billionaire. Not as a stranger. But as a man ready to fight. He met Amina again under the mango tree where they first talked. She stood there quietly as he approached. "I love you," he said. "Not because you sell pepper. Not because of your smile. But because you saw me when the world only saw my money." Amina looked into his eyes. Truly looked. She saw sincerity. She saw vulnerability. She saw a man who had been broken by wealth, but healed by kindness. She stepped closer. "And I love you too," she whispered. But she added, "I cannot join your world unless your family accepts me." Jonathan nodded. "Then we will make them." And they did. He brought his family to the village again. Not with force, not with insults. He brought them with humility. He told them he would leave the company if they didn't bless his marriage. He told them he would rather be poor with Amina than rich without love. His mother broke into tears. Tears of defeat and realization. "You love her that much," she whispered. "Yes," Jonathan said. Silence filled the air. Then his mother turned to Amina. "My child, forgive me." Amina gasped softly. Jonathan squeezed her hand. A week later, the biggest wedding Cairo had ever seen took place. White tents filled the village square. Drummers performed until the ground shook. Amina wore a beautiful lace gown gifted by Jonathan's mother. Villagers danced like never before. As Jonathan lifted Amina's veil, he smiled. "You gave me the one thing money couldn't buy, peace. And you gave me something I never expected," she whispered. "A love that chose me." They kissed. The crowd cheered. And from that day on, Amina was no longer known as the pepper seller. She became